Psychologists who quietly shaped the human mind. There are forces that shape history loudly: wars, revolutions, collapses. And then there are forces that work in silence. They do not march through streets. They do not carry flags. They do not announce themselves. Yet they decide how humans love, fear, obey authority, raise children, and even understand themselves. These forces are ideas. And behind those ideas are mind psychologists who did not merely study humans, but rewrote the blueprint of human thought. Most people will never know their names, yet most people live inside their ideas. This is not a story about theories. It is a chronicle of minds that quietly shaped the human condition. Before psychology had language, humans still suffered. Children were punished for crying. Trauma was dismissed as weakness. Mental illness was seen as possession, sin, or moral failure. No one asked why the human mind broke, only how to control it. Then, slowly, a few minds began asking a dangerous question. What if human behavior is not random, but understandable? What if the mind has patterns? And what if those patterns can be studied, predicted, even influenced? That question would change civilization forever. The first mind to truly disturb the silence was Sigmund Freud. Freud did not simply introduce psychology. He introduced discomfort. He suggested that humans are not ruled by logic, but by unconscious desires they barely understand. That beneath morality, culture, and discipline lies instinct, repression, and conflict. Society was horrified. Yet today, every conversation about trauma, childhood experiences, repression, or self-awareness traces its roots back to Freud's insistence on one radical idea: the mind is not as innocent as it pretends to be. Where Freud saw conflict, Carl Jung saw symbols. Jung believed the human mind carried ancient stories, myths older than any individual life. He called this the collective unconscious. To Jung, dreams were not random. Religion was not foolish. Symbols were not accidents. They were maps of the human soul. In a world obsessed with rationality, Jung reminded humanity of something unsettling: that modern humans still think like ancient ones, only with better technology. Then came BFF Skinner, who stripped humanity of its illusions. Skinner believed free will was exaggerated. To him, behavior was shaped by rewards and punishments, conditioning. No inner mystery, no soul talk, just patterns. His work laid the foundation for modern education systems, advertising, workplace management, and digital engagement algorithms. Every notification you respond to, every habit you struggle to break, carries Skinner's fingerprints. This raises an uncomfortable question. If behavior can be conditioned, how free are we really? That question haunted Stanley Milgram. Milgram did not study intelligence or emotion. He studied obedience. His experiments revealed something terrifying: ordinary people will inflict harm on others when instructed by authority. Not monsters, not villains, regular humans. Milgram's findings reshaped how the world understands power, responsibility, and moral collapse. After Milgram, no society could honestly say, that could never happen here. While Milgram studied obedience, Abraham Maslow studied human potential. Maslow believed humans were not driven only by fear and survival, but by growth. He introduced the hierarchy of needs, showing that safety, belonging, esteem, and meaning shape behavior. Maslow shifted psychology from fixing broken people to understanding fulfilled ones. Every conversation about purpose, self-actualization, and personal growth stands on Maslow's shoulders. But human development does not begin in adulthood. It begins in the arms of a caregiver. This is where John Bowlby enters the chronicle. Bowlby showed that attachment, or its absence, shapes emotional health for life. Children do not simply need food and shelter. They need safety, consistency, and emotional presence. Bowlby's ideas transformed parenting, therapy, and child welfare policies, and quietly revealed a truth many adults were afraid to face: that unresolved childhood bonds echo across a lifetime. From attachment, the story moves to identity. Erik Erikson believed life unfolds in stages, each marked by psychological conflict: trust versus mistrust, identity versus confusion, integrity versus despair. To Erikson, growing older was not just biological, it was psychological. His work gave language to the invisible struggles of each life phase and reminded humanity that development never truly ends. Then came a man who challenged the very idea of mental illness itself. Ard Lane believed that some forms of madness were not disease, but responses to an insane society. He questioned institutions, diagnosis, and labels. To Lane, Society feared what it could not understand and medicated what it could not control. His ideas were controversial, but they forced psychology to confront its own power. Who decides what is normal? That question leads us to Michel Foucault. Foucault was not a psychologist in the traditional sense, but his work reshaped psychology forever. He studied power, surveillance, and how institutions define truth. Foucault revealed that knowledge is never neutral, that science, medicine, and psychology can become tools of control. His work changed how we understand prisons, hospitals, therapy, and even education. After Foucault, psychology could no longer pretend to be innocent. Yet amidst power and control, one psychologist returned attention to meaning, Viktor Frankl. A Holocaust survivor, Frankl argued that humans can endure almost anything if they find meaning. Not pleasure, not power, meaning. His experiences gave birth to logotherapy, the idea that purpose is a psychological necessity. Frankl reminded the world that even in suffering, the mind searches for a reason to continue. This brings us to a deeper philosophical interruption. If humans are shaped by conditioning, attachment, authority, culture, and trauma, where does identity truly come from? Is the self discovered or constructed? Psychology does not give one answer. It gives many. Jean Piaget believed intelligence develops through interaction with the world. Children are not empty vessels. They actively construct reality. Piaget reshaped education by proving that children think differently at different stages. Learning, he showed, is not about information, but readiness. Albert Bandura added another layer. Humans learn not just from experience, but from observation. We imitate, we model, we internalize. Bandura revealed that behavior spreads socially. Ideas, fears, violence, and courage are contagious. This insight quietly explains culture itself. Then came Daniel Kahneman, who exposed the flaws in human rationality. He showed that humans rely on mental shortcuts, biases that distort judgment. We are not logical thinkers with occasional emotion. We are emotional thinkers with occasional logic. Kahneman's work reshaped economics, politics, marketing, and decision-making. After him, the myth of the rational human collapsed. Now pause and notice something. None of these psychologists worked in isolation. Each one cracked a piece of the human puzzle: fear, meaning, attachment, power, learning, identity. Together, they built a mirror, and humanity looked into it, unsure whether to feel enlightened or exposed. The final reflection matters most. These psychologists did not simply describe the mind. They changed how humans raise children, how societies educate, how governments influence, and how individuals understand pain, love, and purpose. Their ideas became invisible architecture. You do not feel them, but you live inside them. Legends are not remembered because they were flawless. They are remembered because their ideas survived criticism, fear, and time. And long after their bodies are gone, their thoughts continue thinking through us. This has been a chronicle not of people, but of minds that shaped the human condition. And the question remains, if ideas can shape humanity so deeply, which ideas are shaping you right now?